In this vlog, I want to share what we did and where we went on the first day of our trip to India in Delhi. If you're planning to travel to India or if you're interested in Indian culture, make sure to follow me. Hi, I'm Parisa and I'm here to share my budget travel experiences with you. Thank you for following me. On the first day, it was 9 o'clock and the driver arrived. Follow us as we set out for a very eventful and exciting day. First of all, we needed to exchange money and get a SIM card. There are two things you should know about getting a SIM card. First, when you buy a SIM card and activate an internet package on it, they don't give you all the internet data at once. For example, if you have a basic internet package, they only give you 1.5 gigabytes per day. The second point is that in places in India where the internet is 5G, your data package is not used up at all. But if it is 4G or lower, it will count against your data limit. I can confidently say that almost everywhere, even on the roads and in the cities and so on, there was 5G internet and we still had leftover data until the very last day. Buying a SIM card and activating the initial internet package cost about 1 million tomans. The first place we visited was QUTUB MUNAR. QUTUB MUNAR was built in the 12th century as a symbol of the Muslims' victory over the Hindus. Its height is about 72 meters and it is the tallest brick minaret in the world. It is made of red brick and verses from the Quran are written on it in Kufic script, which was truly beautiful and impressive. Of course, QUTUB MUNAR is part of a complex called the Qutba complex, which also includes a mosque and a tomb. These are all registered as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The entrance ticket for most UNESCO-listed sites was 600 rupees, which is about 600,000 tomans in our currency. I would give this complex a 7 out of 10. I think it's worth visiting, especially since you can take lots of beautiful photos inside. This is a general culture in India where security staff come up to you and suggest the best photo spots, and they're happy with just a small tip. We only gave him a tip of 50 rupees, which is about 50,000 tomans, but he took amazing photos of us. The next place we visited was the Lotus Temple in Delhi. The Lotus Temple belongs to the Baha'i faith. If you don't know, it's good to know that the prophet of the Baha'is is an Iranian, but you know that this religion is not accepted at all in Iran, and they are now calling it a departure from Iran. Lotus Temple. But what the Baha'is themselves explained about the real name here is not bad. They call it here, east of the Azkar. In fact, it is a place where all people, regardless of their religion, can live together. They can come into this space and worship their own God in silence. In fact, no sermons are given here or any invitation to Baha'ism is made. Only people can speak in silence and think about their own God. That's why they call it that. Mashriq al-Adkar. The third place we visited was Humayun's tomb. Humayun. The tomb is one of India's tourist attractions. You could say it's the first Persian garden ever built in the poetry of the Indian subcontinent. Humayun was one of the Indian kings who took refuge in the Iranian court for about 15 years. When he passed away, his wife, because of her deep love for him, hired architects from Iran to build a very grand and magnificent tomb for him. The construction of this tomb took about 8 years, and its architecture is entirely Persian. That is, when we Iranians enter it, the whole atmosphere feels completely familiar to us. It has a courtyard, pools in the center, a dome, tile work, and even its windows are Persian. This structure is very significant because, well, it introduced Persian architecture to India and became the model for many buildings that came after it, the most important of which is the Taj Mahal. In fact, people even call Humayun's tomb the mini Taj Mahal. But the truth is that Humayun's tomb was the model for building the Taj Mahal with all its grandeur. On the first day of our trip to India, we never really got used to the Indian weather. India is extremely hot, and we went there in Ordibehesht, April-May. But the heat was similar to the peak of summer, like July or August in Isfahan. It was really hot. And also because it's much closer to the equator, the angle of the sun's rays is much sharper and more intense. Honestly, it was really unbearable for us. Here at Humayun's tomb, we just couldn't take it anymore. We were literally melting from the intense, oppressive heat, so we decided to go and rest for a while under the cool, refreshing shade of the magnificent trees there. I carefully took this particular shot of those truly remarkable trees because they were really quite interesting, enormous, ancient, and incredibly majestic in their presence. And also because of the kindness they showed us by giving us shelter under their shade. I took the photo so it would be a keepsake. When the sun went down, we headed toward the Akshardham temple. I can honestly say it was the most beautiful thing I saw in Delhi. In fact, among all the magnets I bought as souvenirs from Delhi, I chose the Akshardham temple as the symbol of Delhi because it was absolutely amazing to me. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, they don't allow any digital devices inside the Akshardham temple, so there are no photos or videos of it. Even on the internet, you really can't find many photos or videos of it. They only allow you to take a picture from a distance. But take it from me, this temple is incredibly beautiful. And definitely, when you go to India, make sure to visit this temple. My rating for it is 10 out of 10. If I want to explain more about it, well, first of all, the temple belongs to the Hindus themselves and is full of statues. It's a very beautiful, large complex, and it holds many stories within it. For example, the way the statues are made depicts these tales, and the statues themselves are there. Inside the enclosed area, there are not only many statues, but also live ceremonies taking place are performed there. That was also really fascinating to me. Definitely visit the Akshardham temple in the afternoon because after dark there's a light and water show. It has large pools where people sit all around, and there's a show with lasers and fountains. The show was really interesting. The language of the performance was Hindi, but you could still get the gist from the visuals. Overall, you could guess what it was about, and in fact, the show was very beautiful. It was absolutely worth seeing. It was held in a very grand and beautiful way. Overall, the Akshardham complex was really beautiful. I even really liked the fountains and their show, and it became one of my top memories from India. The last place we went to see was the India Gate. India Gate, or the Gateway of India, is a gate built in memory of the soldiers who died in World War II. It was built in a grand style and is truly massive. What really makes this place special is that the area outside has a very interesting family-friendly Indian atmosphere. It's full of street food and the complete aroma of India. You can feel it, kids are playing, and the area itself is also quite scenic. As you walk around, not only do you see one of the Indian landmarks, but you're also walking within the very fabric of Indian culture. Something interesting happens at 9 p.m. They close off the area, probably because this is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site and must be preserved. It requires special care and protection. At 9 p.m., out of respect for the culture and by order, when the police said to evacuate, I found it really amusing and interesting. This was the last place we visited, and after that, we left. We went to get something to eat. It was a relatively local style restaurant, and the dishes, we tried some Indian food. One of the dishes was kind of like our gourmet sabzi, but with potatoes, and another one was rice, and there were also some side dishes, and one of them was like kashk and cheese and things like that. The food didn't taste bad. It was really spicy though, but the thing is, maybe on the first night, we shouldn't have eaten out because we still hadn't adapted to India's climate yet. This food ended up making us sick later, which I'll explain to you in due time. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it so far. Thank you so much for watching the video all the way to the end. I would really appreciate it if you could. If you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel and share your thoughts with me in the comments.